Anyway, so we tilt forward from the hip, again, hinging at the hip. And then we take the arms, straight arms, back as far as we're able, making sure the shoulders stay where they should. That's very important. Use a mirror to check yourself, please. Again, the long back of the neck position. And then this elbow should not be allowed to move at all. All we're going to do is straighten and bend the arm, but the elbow stays exactly where it is. I hope you can see that. Okay, so this is incorrect. Okay, swinging it around, incorrect. We take the arm back, we hold it, and then we bend and straighten. If you don't really feel it's doing it for you, it's probably because your elbow is moving inadvertently. You don't realise. One way to avoid that would be to just hold the arms in place and not move at all. Don't bend at the elbow, just hold and squeeze inwards. Okay, so that's another option. So I'm going to do bend and straighten, but you could just hold if you find it too difficult to control your elbow. Check your posture, shoulders away from the ears, tummy pulling in. And the target muscle is the back of your arm there, so that tricep muscle. Some of you may have spotted there's an opportunity to do a combination here. So if you start with your elbows bent, tilt forward from the hip, straighten legs and arms together, and then back down. So if you are doing this one, what you hope you can notice is I'm not straightening up fully with my top half. I'm keeping that hinge at the hip position in order to make sure that the tricep work is working well. So if you like that combination, there you go. And relax. So I thought we'd do a little bit of stretching. So if you put your hand on the side, I'm going to stretch the rib cage. Pull your tummy in, breathe in to prepare as you float the opposite arm up. Keep your shoulder down and then breathe out and stretch. So this rib cage is getting a good stretch there. And back. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out on the stretch, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. If the breathing goes wrong, don't worry too much, but just pause for a second at this point to check that you're going to be doing the out breath with the stretch, because that's the important bit. The rest is just to keep it all flowing nicely, but if you get out of sync, just pause there, make sure you've got a breath in so you can breathe out as you stretch. That's the important bit. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. So we've had a nice stretch up the side, we've had a twist, done the back of your arm, we've worked the glutes, we've worked the core, worked some quads. Okay, so I think it might be time to stand up now. So using the back of your chair for reassurance and a little bit of support if you feel you need it. I've pushed mine up against the sofa, so it's even more solid now than just if it was on its own, because it's not a tremendously heavy chair. So standing tall, I'm going to do foot pedaling to start with. So pull your tummy in. You're aiming to have your ear, shoulder, hip, knee, ankle all in a straight line. That's the idea. So obviously retract the chin and then do foot pedaling. My feet are a little bit apart, not very much, but it's just a little ankle warm up, and it warms up other muscles and joints as well, a little bit of knees and so forth. So foot pedaling, and then a little bit of squatting. So we're going down and back. So just as when we were sitting on the chair, we try to keep the upper body neutral. So you hinge at the hip and go down, and you keep that. So it's about getting your bottom to go down and your top half to stay neutral. So a little bit of a hinge, and then down we go. Where people go wrong with squats is they sort of drop their head down as if they're going to pick something up from the floor. That isn't correct technique for a squat. The squat is about your bottom going down and your top half staying neutral, and down we go there. As a guide, your knees shouldn't go beyond your toes. So I can still see my toes beyond. I still see my toes, so that's reassuring. And again, if some of you find it hard to squat, the heel wants to come off all the time, you can use a block, or as I have here, a hog. Makes it a lot easier to do your squat because the heel is supported as you do your squat. Push through the heel. I think sometimes the reason why is if your Achilles are a little bit tight. So if you are having to use that kind of aid to achieve a squat, I would also recommend that you do stretches to try and stretch the Achilles. So ideally, you should be able to do a squat with your heels flat on the floor. So what you could do is lift and lower your toes there while standing. That would give you a sort of strength at the front and a stretch at the back there. So that's good. Okay. Now I want to work on out to hip, and in the past we've done standing work like this. So I'm going to use the hog, which is great, and you can use a cushion or a block similarly. So you stand on one leg, soften the knee there, and then we work the other leg. Great advantage, as I'm sure you can see with having yourself a little bit raised up, is this moving leg can be straight. You don't have to compromise on that. You don't have to bend the knee as it goes through. So that's great. So I'm just going forward and back, keeping it straight. But what I want you to show you from the side as well. what I want you to notice is that my body should not be moving. Okay, so in order to achieve that leg behind position, I am not leaning forward. I am staying where I am, and this is really working hard, and this is stretching. I take the leg forward, my stomach's working hard. Again, I'm not leaning back. That's called counterbalancing. We're not counterbalancing, we're staying tall and straight. Only that one leg is moving. Squeeze the glute, squeeze the tum, squeeze the glute, squeeze the tum. Okay. Good. Now, what I want to try, well, we'll have a little stretch first, sorry. We'll have a hip stretch first. So, back leg, front leg bent, back leg straight. But it doesn't have to be straight, you can bend it a bit. And just sink down until you get a stretch in that hip. And again, body upright, not leaning forward and not arching. Squeeze your bottom, try and get your tailbone pointing down. Breathe. And that's your stretch. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Standing on the other leg. And you soften the knee so you've got more control. And then you move the leg forward and back, remembering to keep everything straight. No leaning in and out. No counterbalance. So it's squeeze the tummy, squeeze the bottom, squeeze the tummy, squeeze the bottom, squeeze the tummy, and so on. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Show you the side view. It's very difficult to tell unless you're sort of been practicing for years whether you're moving or not. And so you might need a mirror just to check whether you're doing that or not. Well done. So we do a little stretch now. So that leg that you've been moving, that goes behind. Front leg bends. And you just sink down until you feel that stretch in that hip there, the one that you were moving around. Okay. Now, I didn't do the hamstring stretch on the other side, so just straighten the front leg, bend the knee, and do your hamstring stretch. When you've done that one, do the other one also. Chin up, bottom up, toe up. Make sure you do both. Now, working the side glutes. When we've done this in class before, we've worked again in the standing position and taking the taking the leg out to the side and back. And that's fine, but I wanted to try something else today. I wanted to try an alternative to the standing work that we do more usually. In order to work the side glute, kneel next to your chair and then put your elbow on your chair. You can even have the hand going over there for extra reassurance. And then you straighten the other leg away. Hope what you can see is that this hip, the supporting leg, is above the knee. Okay? Pull the tummy in. Now, your head should really be in line with the spine. So I was holding it like that so I could talk to you upright, but really you should be head in line with the spine. So it should look like this. Pull your tummy in and then see if you can lift and lower that leg. Now you might think, oh my goodness, that's way too much. Just check on your alignment. Check that your hips are not sticking behind. We need to be really as if between two planes of glass, except for that back leg sticking out behind and that front arm sticking out in front. But apart from that, we should be more or less in a straight line. So tummy in, and this is working here. Okay. Now, if that feels too much, you could just literally hold the pose, because I find just holding the pose without even lifting is quite hard work. So head in line with the spine, tummy working, straight leg extended. So either do 10 lift and lowers or just hold the pose for a count of 10 and that'll be fine. So whatever gives you the workout here that we're after. This is an alternative to the standing one that we normally do in class. And of course, if you're using a fit ball, you can do the same thing but with your arm with the fit ball here instead of a chair. Okay, now just have a nice stretch. So sit back on your heels and stretch yourself. So rearrange your furniture or yourself and do the other side. So knee under hip, elbow on the chair, other leg straight, and head in line with the spine. Check yourself, are you quite straight in line as if between two panes of glass? Pull that tummy in and then lift and lower. This hand can be there, there, there. Just keep that shoulder away from the ear. That might be a nice one actually. I've just adjusted this arm because I think it feels more comfy there. So we did 10 lifts or just held the pose for a count of 10 if you're finding it hard work just holding the pose, which is great. Whatever works, whatever makes you work is absolutely fine. So we want a squeeze here and we want work going on here and no pain in your back. So those are the criteria for success. So whatever works for you, basically. When you've completed that, give yourself a lovely big stretch, bottom over the heels, and head relaxed. Excellent. Now,